Now, as I warned you guys on the previous episodes, there's going to be a lot of gear talk from now to the end of the year. And just to let you guys know, I'm not that gear podcast, okay? Because I'm not a gearhead. I'm more into the creative side of things. But you need the gear, so I'm going to talk about gear also. Now, the Canon C80 just dropped. It looks like a great camera. It's a full-frame cinema camera that can shoot up to 6K at 30 frames per second. It's being marketed by Canon as the perfect teammate to the C400, the bigger boy, the big cinema camera that was released earlier this year. But let's hear from Canon themselves.
As first introduced in the recently released EOS C400, the EOS C80 features the same powerful 6K, full-frame, backside illuminated, stacked CMOS sensor, delivering 16 stops of dynamic range, organic color reproduction, and the revolutionary triple base ISO system, offering the lowest signal-to-noise ratio for the best image quality, up to an amazing 12,800 ISO.
So this is a great camera if you are shooting with like a full-frame DSLR or a point and shoot, or one of those introductory cameras that still great cameras. But if you're ready to step up to a cinema camera, say you're shooting Canon, you're ready to go up the line, up the cinema camera line, and just get a camera that's just dedicated to video, I would definitely look at something like this. Now, the benefits of cinema cameras is that triple base ISO, as was mentioned. So let me break down what that base ISO thing is, okay? So my camera, I have a FX6, and the big thing was that the dual base ISO that it comes with. This is triple base ISO, so that's a little bit better. So what that means is your ISO is the gain. So it's how bright it digitally makes your image, okay? The higher the ISO levels, the brighter it gets, but then also the more grain and fuzzy picture you get if you're in a dark setting. Okay, so you can't boost it up too much because it's going to get really grainy. So having a dual base ISO like in my camera, there's another ISO level that's mine's around like 12,800 ISO. And normally that'd be really, really high, but the camera does some kind of magic to where that's your new dual base. So instantly it becomes clear, and they do it through some sort of magic. So this has 3 base level ISOs. I think the highest one is at 12.8, and I think they got one right in between. The bottom is usually 800, and then they got some right in between. So one of my favorite YouTubers, Kaimin Wong, he took it out in the field and he actually played with that triple base ISO and also some other features.
Anyway, as I mentioned, it's a full frame sensor. Same sensor as the one in the C400. That means it's got triple base ISO.
Ooh.
It has your ND filters built in, which is part of the appeal, isn't it?
That's great, yeah.
Up to 10 stops of ND filterness.
Wow, okay.
So Kaimin also brought up something that I love having in my cinema camera. It's an internal ND filter. That's when you're shooting out in very bright situations, almost like sunglasses for your camera. You'll see a lot of people screwing those filters on the front of their lenses. This is built in, so it's like having sunglasses built into the back of your eye that you can like switch the power to. So it sounds like it has up to 10 stops, which is amazing. Yeah, so those are all the little perks of a cinema camera. This looks like a great camera. I'm totally in the Sony world, so I wasn't even thinking about this camera, but it's sounding very appealing. So you want to know, should you buy this camera? There's a lot of different situations to where I would say yes, and a lot of situations to where I would say no. Now the YouTuber Griffin Conway, I watch a lot of his videos on gear, and he breaks down his thoughts on whether or not you should purchase it.
I would say if you don't have either of these cameras, and maybe you're stepping up from say like an R6 Mark II or something like that, or maybe an R5, and you want to get your first cinema camera, man, I would say definitely go for the C80. This camera to me is like an absolute no-brainer.
Okay, Griffin's telling you go buy it. You gotta go get this C80. So here are my thoughts. Okay, so everyone, all the reviews I saw saying it's basically a C400, which is the higher end cinema camera by Canon, squeezed into a smaller package, which is true. But the C400 will get you a little bit higher bit rate, a little bit more connectivity, and some more frame rate options, but not much more outside of that. But for post production, the C400 will give you a little bit more versatility. My thoughts. So if you're set on the Canon ecosystem, you own other Canon cameras, and you're looking to upgrade to a cinema camera. So if money is not an issue, I would say go for the C400. Skip the C80, go straight to the C400. That's if money is not an issue, okay? If you are someone that wants a cinema camera, you don't have a ton of experience, you don't want to get a DSLR, you want to go straight to cinema camera, I would say look for a C70. Okay, it's the older model, but those are still very great cameras. Get a C70, and then I would say if you know you want to do this, you know this is for you, then get your C400 as your A camera and keep your C70 as your B camera. Now, if you're someone that has experience, you're ready to drop some money, okay? You want to drop a little bit more money than, you don't want the C70, okay? That's old tech to you. Your current camera already competes with that. Get the C80. Get the C80. It could be your A camera. And then eventually, if you want to upgrade even more, then you get the C40 and this becomes your B camera. You'll have your A camera and you'll be the cinema master.